Oh, glorious angles again with the focus. Hello. I'm really sorry that my camera won't seem to focus on my face. What on earth is going on? Really won't. Look, it's right here. Face. Anyway, greatness aside, welcome back, and I hope you're ready to get started on your mermaid ShoeShoes, or whatever kind of scaly pattern you've gone for this time, at least. I thought I'd take a moment at the start of this video to take you through some of my other shoes that I've got in progress. I mean, you can see a pair in the background that are actually in for repairs. Those were my wedding shoes, which was quite a few years ago now. And I just need to re-glue some of the rhinestones because the glue I used at the time, the glue I could get at the time, wasn't very good. Boo. But it worked for the day. Yay! And I have much better glue now, so it's all fine. Right. Also in the background, we have these. Oh, now it's focusing on my face. Now I'm trying to show the shoes, it focuses on my face. Which are obviously work in progress. These are made using die-cut feathers of all sorts of different upcycled materials, so they're kind of offcuts of leathers and fabrics that I have had given to me or taken from clothing over the years. And I'm really happy with how they're turning out. Okay, stay. At some point I'll have to show you guys around my craft room, but not yet. Today is all about the mermaid shoes. If you remember, the originals look a little something like this. And so far, you should have something that looks like this. Or whatever colours you've gone for, really. I'm going to turn the camera around, put you in a cradle, and explain a little more. Okay. Oof, that's all of the joints in my hand clicking. So, I've had a little fun with my masking tape, in that it doesn't really work on these shoes. I don't know what's going on, but you'll see they don't look as good as they could, and I'm in the process of removing the excess paint. The ones, however, that I have worn for years and years are perfect, and this is because the masking tape worked, and any extra I scrape off a slightly blunt scalpel. Right, let's pop you up here. Creak, creak, creak. Okay. Let's twist the camera around. There we go. The mess of my craft bench, everyone. So, I'm going to put the originals away. One last glimpse. Here's what they look like. Today we are going to be looking at laces and glitz and glam. And yes, putting away totally means just throwing on the floor behind me. Okay, the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that I have used different colours on these shoes. It's quite hard to tell on camera, but one shoe I've used silver paint and the other shoe I have used white paint. I think I prefer the silver, but that's okay because I can just go over it and make this one silver. But I'm still deciding, and I thought I'd go ahead and do this work, and then you can help me decide if you want. Right. So, first things, we are going to look at decorating or pearlizing certain scales. With my originals, I used this stuff, You'll see me come back to it time and time again. All-purpose acrylic paint in pearl. It's really nice. But for these, I'm thinking I want to use silver. Acrylic silver paint. Again, sticking with the acrylics. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit in my palette. And then I am going to use my fingers. Yes, this is messy. Here we go. So I've got a little bit on my finger. And then I'm going to dab that around my palette. Because I'm doing the equivalent of dry brushing here with my fingers. So I've just got a tiny bit on there. And then I'm going to take to my shoes. And on my mermaid ones, I did every like checkerboard scale thing going on. So, show you. And it will take a little bit of experimentation to get the kind of level of silver right. And you'll probably go over the lines and have to go over them again, but that's okay, because it would be difficult to predict where the scales were going to fall before you had put the scales on, obviously. So we'll do a few more. So every other one would be that little one there, and then here. This one. So I'm using my little finger. Those of you with bigger fingers or less messy inclinations like myself, get yourself a brush. This one I think is too small. Excuse me while I rummage in the drawer of brushes of wonder. What do I have? Nope, this one. Right, here we go. So get yourself an okay sized brush that's dry. Don't put it directly into the paint, kind of pull some paint out, scuff it around a bit. So you don't want much on your brush, because we're going to use a dry brushing technique here. It's actually quite a nice effect. So you can see that when I build up this effect, it's going to look great. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to use the brush now because actually I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. Experimentation is how half of my ShoeShoes come together. So again, I don't want to overload the brush. I'm not looking to colour the whole scale in here. I'm just looking to provide kind of a hint of pearlescence. That sounds so... A hint of pearlescence, yes, of course, my darling. And I've decided these shoes are going to lend themselves really nicely to a grungy effect as well. So I think what I might do on the soles is keep this kind of grimy effect and add to it. What's the Bob Ross saying? A happy accident? Yeah, it would be a happy accident. So as much as I said I want to make every other scale this kind of silvery pearlescent, I'm not going to be overly strict and overly patterned about it. As you can tell by the scales that I have drawn on, I'm not after neatness. I'm kind of after natural, as much as scales on shoes can be. You know, if you're making some mermaid shoes, you want it to look like a real mermaid, yeah? Not every one of their scales is going to reflect at all times. Good tip for inspiration for this look is, by the way, I've left the masking tape on here so I can go over the edge. Was it the rainbow fish? Certainly a book I remember from when I was younger. It was really pretty. It was like under the sea, so everything was blue, and then there was a fish that had rainbow coloured scales. There we go. This is where that idea came from, I guess. No, hang on, wait. That is where this idea came from. Good English skills there, Amy. Well done. Hey, Dan. How you doing? Today, as I fumble through the English language, I'm making shoes even prettier. So, keep going. These things take some time. Change the angles of the shoes so you look at them from all angles, because people are going to see them from all angles. If you're using the brush rather than your finger, like I said, for the first pair of shoes and for the start of these I used my finger, but if you're using the brush, keep it a dry brush. If you overload it with paint, wipe it off on a tissue and dab again. You can always add more paint, you can't take it away. And yeah, don't forget, you're meant to be helping me decide silver or white scales. It's hard to tell on this camera, I realise. They both look the same. This one is silver, this one is white. And I'm just wondering which one to go with as the final look. So I know I say this all the time, but every once in a while I will look at the screen on my phone and be able to see messages if they show up. Sometimes I miss them, I'm really sorry. I do go back and watch afterwards, check them out. Hopefully I don't miss any, but the sound of my own voice is quite hideous, so I'd rather never see that. It's nothing personal if I miss your messages. In fact, quite the opposite. It's all about me. I'm really sorry. It's not you. It's me. Okay, I think that's quite enough silver scales on this half. Just go ahead and do that on the other one. See how I get on. And what I've also gathered around, and I showed you this in the first video, is glitter. Oh yes, it's glitter time, baby. And foil. So glitter comes in many forms. This is a huge pot of glitter. I had to have it. I don't know why, just I had to have it. It was pretty. Foil that comes like this. This is metallic flakes, quite cheap. You can also buy the official kind of leaf. Does the same effect. So we've got that. Then you get glitter in fabric paint. I've got acrylic paint that's glittery. Put that on my shoes. So yeah, I'd say get your glitter in your preferred form. If it's loose like this spot here, you'll need to buy some glue as well, and you're going to want some that stays tacky for quite a while. If you can get hold of, this is going to be really hard to see, this is a foil pen, Write and Rub. It just sounds slightly perverted. Real foil finish. It's a glue that stays tacky when it's dry. Those were inverted commas, by the way. It looks really great on camera. So, keep painting. A lot of this is designer's discretion as to how many scales you think need to be filled in. If you're using the pearl, it looks a little bit different. These are quite gothic, I guess, shoes compared to the others that I've made. Don't know if I'll ever use my finger again to do this painting. This brush is just brilliant. Sorry if I'm going off camera there. Bad Amy. And what I'm doing as well, I'm not... Sorry if you've never dry brushed before, I realised I haven't really explained the technique very well. So, the brush is dry. It should preferably be quite bristly. What does that mean? It's not silky smooth. When you touch it, there's a little bit of a, how to explain it, a tack to it. It's stiff. And I'm actually more pushing the paint in to the shoe rather than gently brushing it on or stroking it on. Gosh, you could have innuendo bingo on this episode. So yeah, the rudeness of crafting with Amy and her ShoeShoes. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Brush in water, swish it around. I don't like leaving my brushes in water, but for the time being, I'll just leave it there. Right. What next? I'm going to apply some foil. So shake your glue or pen. I also have, this won't help you, but some fabric glue. That takes a lot longer to dry. I'm going to use the pen on this one, and I'm just going to pick scales that I think would look good in this ridiculous foil finish. So when you draw this glue on, it's blue. When it dries, it goes clear, and that's how you know you can pop the foil on. I'm really hoping this looks awesome, and I'm also really hoping it lasts on the shoes. This is an experiment. I've used foil on shoes before, but never in kind of small little amounts like this, and not with this pen. I normally use the fabric glue I have, but it takes such a long time to dry, it just wouldn't be suitable for these kind of sessions. They'll work, well, I'll use it when we're doing kind of a longer sit down and watch Amy crafting, rather than sit down and watch Amy show you how to do something. Okay, so just let that one dry. Pick a few scales on this shoe. Wonderful noise where the texture of the shoe is coming through. Here. Okay, so I did 4 on this one. Let's do 4 on this one as well. lid on. Dry, my pretties, dry. Right, as it's drying, I'm going to add the glitter. And I'm sticking with the fabric paint one. So this is So Soft Deco Art. Any brand of fabric paint is fine. This glitter is, oh, you can see it on the rainbow. Yes. Why would it be anything else? So, little bit in your palette. Remember, you can always add more paint. You can't take it away. Grab a brush. And this one you really are just going to properly paint on because the paint behind it is clear. So it will just dry as if it's sparkly on its own. If you're adding glitter, bear in mind that the background will show through unless you completely cake it. So you might want to consider that in your final design. You know, do you like that colour showing through? Do you want to have, do you want to have like a background colour on it? If so, paint the scales that you want beforehand. You know, I imagine actually something like this with copper and orangey tones coming through, really autumnal, would be absolutely beautiful. In which case you could use some orange glitter on those. So with the glitter, I am just picking random scales to paint. Where's my glitter? There we go. There's no real art to it. It's just whichever one I feel like painting. But I'm not doing too many because it's just lovely when you're walking along and they catch the sun slightly. Make sure you don't group them all together too closely. It may sound obvious, but it's advice worth giving. And the great thing about acrylic paints is they dry quite quickly. And they kind of stay in place. They don't run. So, you know, water paints, run slightly if you don't leave them to dry still. So acrylic paint doesn't really care about that. I feel like more glitter is needed. I mean, more glitter is always needed. Right, I'm going to let those dry, see what I think. Now this scale here is ready to be foiled. So, try not to inhale the foil. Thing I've learnt about these pieces of foil is they are often folded in on themselves. So if you do have a moment to gently pry them apart, you'll get a lot more surface area out of them. That's why they're so cheap, basically. So, pop the foil on, cover the whole area that you have glued, leave it to look like a bit of a mess for the moment, and we'll come back to that with a brush. Any other scales dried? So this one's almost dried. You can, this one here, it's got a little bit of blue left on it, so I'm just going to let that dry completely. What I've also gathered are some ribbons, and I have gone with a silver and a pale blue organza. Yes, it's organza time ribbon, and I have here the original laces that came with the shoes. So in a bit I'll be making laces out of these two ribbons to match the length of the original. When you're buying ribbon, have a look at the sizes on the spool, or measure your lace that came with the shoe from end to end. And I would advise buying 3 times the length, because ribbon laces can be a bit thicker, they may need a bit of extra on them, and it's always best to have a bit more than you need. So 3 times the amount of ribbon compared to the lace originally. Right, I'm going to test this now. I have here a brush. It's big, it's fluffy, it's quite stiff, and I'm going to try and brush off the excess foil. This was going well, actually. Until that a little bit extra where the glue hasn't perfectly dried, eh? Oh well. So, I was a bit too brutal with my brush, basically. There we go. So that scale is really going to catch the light now. So as you step, it's going to be like normal, 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 shine. Normal, normal, shine. Yes, technical terms. Right. To keep going. This scale round here is now dry enough to apply the foil to. You don't have to be sensible with your foil colours. Foils come in all sorts of glorious patterns. That make me very happy. I will show you some when I've got this foil stuck down. A little bit on that one. Okay, let those get stuck on. So, foils, I was saying about the glorious colours and patterns. We have this foil, which you may have seen on my Facebook not so long ago. Pink, turquoise, rainbow patterns. Oh boy, here we go. Box full of different patterns and foils, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And all you need to use them are these glues that stay tacky when they're dry. So foil works by, I'll show you on the sparkly one. Just pop these away. Comes on a clear sheet, and you see this is a piece of foil that I have used quite a lot of. And you put the glue on your shoes, sorry, on your whatever, doesn't have to be shoes. Then you wait for it to dry and go tacky. You pop this over the top on a bit that has the pattern, so I can touch this side quite easily. Other side is often grey, this is a muted side of it. And you can just scratch it off here. So it's not as stuck to the plastic as it could be, basically. So you place it over the shoes, you rub through the foil. I tend to use a glue spatula quite a lot because it's slightly flexible. You rub through onto the sticky glue, and then you would pull the plastic away, and you'd end up with the foil effect on the shoes. Where leaf, gold leaf or silver leaf or whatever leaf you have differ, and these metallic flakes is they don't have the plastic to hold them on. So you just have to delicately place them. Right, let's see what's going to happen here. Awesome. Sorry, bash the camera there. This brush is rather long. Okay. 2 more silver scales there. pretty. Now I have to play hunt where the other sticky bits are. There's one here. I think I've inhaled some foil. Do not inhale your foil, guys. So like I said, it's kind of folded up on itself, so just gently pry it apart. Press it on. Make sure all of the glue you applied is covered, and then leave it for a little bit. Just long enough for you to go round the others. I can hear like a landslide of foil about to happen behind me where I didn't put them back properly. That one's sticky there. Okay. That glitter is drying nicely as well. These are going to look so cool. Must resist the urge to hum. So I'm just making sure all of the glued area is covered by the foil. Oh my god, my nose is so itchy. This one's going well. Not. Just go on there and we'll deal with you later. There must be more. Yes, this one here. Okay, brush time. So the theory is the brush removes any foil that isn't stuck down properly. But still don't be too rough. You want some foil left on the shoe after all. Still undecided, you know, about the silver or the white scales. Just can't make up my mind. So again, this one here is silver, and this one here is white. There's not much in it, but to me it makes all the difference. Sometimes I think with these decisions it's best to go away and come back and look at it with a fresh set of eyes. Okay, so the glitter is pretty much dry, the foil is on, and the silver paint is on. Look at how the glitter on this scale catches the light. It's so pretty! Right, let's remove that masking tape and torque laces. Oh, it's so satisfying. Hello again, shoes. You have gone from ugly ducklings to beautiful swans. Or, you know, geese, at least. Maybe a Canada goose. I think that's most suited for these. Use little bits of masking tape on these. Now, after all that palaver of the masking tape not sticking to the soles of the shoes, it really sticks to the canvas of the shoes. Not that I'm bitter, obviously. I have tried all sorts to remove that paint. Right. Laces. Well, easy. Let's pop these out of the way for a moment. Stay. Get your original laces and your chosen ribbon. Your chosen ribbon, guys. Remember that. Chosen. And pull the ends together. You will need a lighter. That works. Be very careful, no burning yourselves. Ends of ribbon fray. You can barely see that, but it is there. When you melt it with a lighter, it doesn't. I do actually have, if I can see them, yes. Hi. Down here on the shelf. These things. Heat shrink assortment. And they are what I use to do my laces normally. But I won't be doing that today because I want to show you guys the easy way. So these are little tubes, and I got these from my dad's house. Yeah. And they're, wow, they were a bit of a, oh, I can use those to do laces. They're probably used for like professionally wiring things, but I use them for shoelaces. So waste not, want not, right? But yeah, for now, let's show you the way you can do it really easily without having to buy anything extra. This ribbon is going to be a pain in the bum because it's metallic. And it's going to melt weirdly. But let's still give it a go. The organza is a bit weird. So, pull your ends together. And then, I've left the ribbon on the spools and I haven't cut it. I'm just pulling the ends away from the rest of the ribbon until I get to the end. So there's the other lace end. I can let go of the first end now. If I've got a secure grip on these, 2 hands. I'm going to give a little bit extra. And then using sharp scissors, unlike those blunt scissors that I know we all keep around, snip the ends. Burn the ends again. That totally caught on fire. I told you this metallic ribbon was going to be tricksy. Right, burning ribbon. Wonderful. Well, at least it's sealed. So there's one side of your laces. If you're feeling clever, and if you're not using the metallic ribbon, you can actually melt the ribbons together at the end, but it normally requires burning your fingers at the same time, so let's not bother. Just have 2 separate laces, it's fine. So again, grab all the ends. So I've got the original lace and the 2 new ribbon colours together. This is where I find out that one of my spools of ribbon doesn't have enough on it. You pull away, using one hand to anchor the 3 together. Get to the end, give a little extra, and snip. You can now get rid of your original laces. Goodbye. Let's see what happens. So the beauty about not melting them together, so that, right, this is what will happen if you melt them together. Oh, sorry for the focus. It's fine. Oh, come on, camera. But that is quite frail. And actually just a quick pull and they'll be apart. And I prefer them apart. Because it means you don't get them kind of twisting and tying in the wrong place. Find the other two ends. Not them. Now, let's lace the shoes. I wouldn't normally do this until I was completely done and I cleaned up the edges, so I'll just quickly show you. I know I've mentioned it before, but if you have had bleed from your masking tape, remember this is a shoe I did not mask, you can just gently scrape. I won't wipe on this because it hates me. That excess paint away. She says gently. This is just ridiculous. But it will, I promise, it will come off on other shoes. And at some point I'll be able to show you. I think I showed you on the first pair of shoes that I showed you how to paint, so it does work. Right. Here's another reason to use those tubes or pipes. It's easier to lace your shoes afterwards. So I'm folding these together slightly just to provide a pointed end. You could, of course, if you're feeling brave, use hot glue, glue gun glue, to create an end. These are going to look amazing. And the style of lacing I'm going to use entirely depends on the laces. So if I'm using velvet laces, I will make the lacing kind of this chunky, what's the word? Like straight lacing style to make the most of showing off the velvet. But organza kind of lends itself to chaos, messiness, like frivolous ripples, I don't know, ruffles, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go crisscross. So while you're watching me curse and struggle to do this, please have a think about whether silver or white painting on the scales is best. If you're finding this hard, by the way, to do by hand, get yourself a trusty pair of tweezers and use those to grip the laces through. So I'll just show you that. Get your two ends together. It won't matter once they're through. Once you've laced them once, it's fine. Push your tweezers through the hole. Can you see that? So they've gone through the hole. Get them there ready to grab on that side. Put your ribbon into the tweezers, grab and pull. Only threading needles were that easy, huh? So I'm going to go over and under. I am a little bit obsessed with lacing techniques or methods. There are several tutorials out there about how to get really cool effects. I once got some pair of shoes laced to look kind of like Union Jacks, where you had many more eyelets and you could get that effect going. But I think the main thing is to remember consistency. So here I went under, so over and under. So I'll do the same on this side. And I'm going to use the tweezers again, push them through. Feed the ribbon into them. Probably would have been easier to use my hands. Yep. Oh, this is so fiddly using the tweezers actually. fold the ends, pinch, push them through. Much easier in my eyes. Last ones. Okay, thought of lacing up the other shoe is killing me right now, so I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Just do this one. And on the mermaid shoes, I actually made the laces a length and a half of the originals, so I could double bow them. These should just leave me with a flamboyant bow. Let's see what I can do. I have learnt that the bunny ears technique of lacing gives you a straight bow every time. I learnt this on photo shoots when I worked for a shoe company. Alright, I'm actually going to trim off some of the excess. Just get that there. There you have it. Pretty bows, pretty shoes that really catch the light, glitter from some angles, shine from another. I'm going to do some work on the rest of the sole. Chaos is a ladder. Yeah, funny. Yeah, what I've just termed to be chaos lacing is in fact ladder lacing. So there we go. Learn something new every day. Get your lacing facts straight, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you'll be along next week. I don't know whether it'll be another tutorial. It might be a craft room tour. It may be that I'm working on some shoes and just letting you into my life. It may be that I want to talk to someone and I'm lonely. No, I'm fine. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next week. Bye!